Welcome to EXPANDEO, where the market meets. I am Emmanuel Pajot, the Secretary General of the European Association of Remote Sensing Companies. As a trade association, we are an enabler to better support the understanding between EO downstream service providers, stakeholders, and users. I am delighted to open this EXPANDEO event, even in a digital format. Due to this digital format, you will not be able to enjoy the incredible weather we have currently here in Brussels, where we will reach more than 30 degrees. But you will have the opportunity to potentially interact, meet with more than 750 people who registered to this event. This is an impressive number, which could be for a part be the benefit of these virtual meetings, webinar, we know are all familiar with. But for sure, it highlights the strong interest of the whole Earth observation community, service providers and users and stakeholders. The Earth observation community is large. Last year, for the first time, Earth analyzed the number of EO jobs in Europe, and if we are familiar with the Earth industry survey, with the number of EO employees acting as Earth observation service providers, where we mention more than 9,800 people, we identify more than 2,600 employees involved in other industry, and a total of 24,000 jobs in Europe, where we had the public sector. We organize this event as a virtual one due to the pandemic, a tough situation for all, a challenge for entrepreneurs to maintain the link with customers or stakeholders, to identify new prospects in their domestic market and abroad. But at the same time, Earth observation capability to monitor features at a distance, to deliver quantitative layers, to estimate the impact before and after lockdown, for example, illustrated, even for the citizen, the benefits of Earth observation. The capability to set up a large dashboard, such as RACE by ESA, demonstrated how flexible Earth observation is today. With the new space program, the creation of the new agency, EU SPA, and initiatives launched by the European Commission, such as Cassini, but as well thanks to partnerships with ESA, the Earth observation downstream industry has access to tools or support actions to better develop new capabilities to tackle environment and industrial challenges, to support the EU Green Deal, to answer to new user needs. During these 2 days, you, Earth observation service provider or service users, will have the opportunity to share your views, raise your challenges, and inform on your needs. This is particularly the case today with the Forum Fire. The Forum Fire is a HRT20 project aiming to support DG RTD in the definition of the strategic R&D roadmap. So today, each of you can have a real impact. Later in the day, we will deliver 4 Earth Awards. Even without our traditional cocktail, this ceremony is an excellent opportunity to recognize the innovation, the performance, and the partnership of European Earth observation companies. To compensate for the lack of networking opportunities, I strongly invite you to explore the networking tools and the exhibition area you have access to on the platform we are using for this event. Tomorrow, we will run several parallel sessions. In the morning, in the Green Deal 1, speakers will be Earth observation customers, mostly from the energy, agriculture, raw material, and insurance market. The other session is on the strategic topic of skills in the Earth observation sector. Later in the afternoon, we will explore the use of artificial intelligence, the potential to develop the use of Earth observation by international financial organizations, the role of eShape to expand the use of Copernicus-based services and support the promotion of European capabilities in the group on Earth observation ecosystem. And to conclude EXPANDEO this year, we will have the review of experienced investors, on the risk and opportunities related to investing in the Earth observation sector. So please, explore the agenda, add session to your agenda. EXPANDEO is definitely your event. We are fortunate today to have Martina Sindelar as a keynote speaker today to open EXPANDEO on the Fire Forum. Martina Sindelar will give the keynote speech setting the underlying theme of EXPANDEO 2021, turning opportunities with Earth observation. Martina is currently working at DEFIS as a policy officer in the Space Research, Innovation and Startups unit. She is also a member of the Cassini team and is involved in Horizon Europe. Before that, she joined the Copernicus User Uptake Unit at DigiGrow. Thanks to a long-standing career in various services of the European Commission, Martina has an excellent knowledge of the different topics that will be discussed today. From the role of Earth observation in implementing headline EU policies, notably the European Green Deal and the digital strategy, and its potential in meeting users and business needs. Martina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for this nice introduction, for the invitation, and I say this also on behalf of my colleagues from the Cassini team. It's a great pleasure for me to be with you this morning. I will try to give you a comprehensive, nevertheless, due to the time constraints, a short overview of really important developments currently ongoing, all related to EU space. I tried to give you a bit of a background information so that you get an idea of what we are doing and why. Let's start with the Commission strategy for market and user uptake of the EU space programs. And if I may highlight, for us, it is important not only to look at Copernicus, but also on the navigation programs. So the main objective of the strategy are mainly to foster the development of an innovative and competitive European space sector, and to promote as wide as possible the user uptake and the use of data, information, services provided by the different components of the EU space program. And these objectives will be realized through three main lines, which I will try to explain you briefly. The first line, supporting European space-based SMEs, starts up, including new space. You might know the Commission had published last year the new SME strategy. And in this strategy, the Commission sets out the objectives to increase the number of successful starts up and scales up in the space sector by implementing a number of appropriate measures. And one of the new key measures is what has been mentioned already, the Cassini initiative. Cassini is in the implementation phase, and I will give you a quick overview just to explain you what are the main elements of this new initiative. Cassini is composed of different packages to promote the use of the space programs, but also, this is very important, to give very concrete support to the startup and young companies. So let me start with our promotion activity, the Cassini Hackathon and Mentoring. And I might take the opportunity to give you the information that the first Cassini Hackathon will take place this coming weekend. It is an event, truly a European event, which takes place simultaneously in 10 European cities. And please have a look on the Cassini Hackathon website. There you find also the link. The event is broadcasting, and if you have some time, have a look into it. We are really looking forward to this event, which we think will be very, very interesting. We have then, and this is one of the activities we are working on, a new Cassini Prize. The objective is to really stimulate through a competition innovative solutions based, again, of course, on Copernicus and Agnos Galileo. And this Cassini Prize will set a demanding challenge. As I said, we are working on it, so I cannot talk about the theme. Challenge to startup, young companies to come up with very concrete solutions tackling a global problem, because the objective is to demonstrate very concretely what can be done with Earth observation. We will have a matchmaking initiative where we try to bring young companies in contact with investors and industrial partners. We will have a Cassini Business Accelerator for very promising young companies. We will set up a coaching program, a high qualified and quality coaching scheme, so to allow them to really work together with professionals and with experts on their needs to do the next steps towards successful entering into the market. We are working also on seed and growth funding facilities. There we are working also with the EIB. This is really to boost promising starts up. As you know, venture capital in general is always nearly always the most needed for young companies. And we are convinced with these funds we can really boost the investments in in the space sector and support startups. And then we have also the Cassini in orbit demonstration and validation to give startups the opportunity to test their solutions under real conditions. The second strength, and this might be not so known yet, but we take also this opportunity to present this to you. We have achieved to anchor very closely and to make very closely links between our space programs and the new research program Horizon Europe. By the way, the Commission adopted yesterday evening the first work program. So now the calls will be opened rather soon and the work really can start. So we have first the space downstream R&D support in the cluster 4, the digital industry and space. I do not go into the details of all slides, but we put it together. So for those who are interested, you can take the opportunity and read them a bit in more details. So also what has been already mentioned, we are convinced that with our space programs, we can very substantially contribute to the implementation of the Green Deal. There are a number of calls and areas where we can certainly make a difference, as you can read in the slide. We are looking also towards the public sector, where we have demand-driven innovation actions by public authorities aiming at development and adoption of EGNS and Copernicus applications which meet their needs. We have also the Copernicus downstream applications and the European data economy, a very, very important area Also, I would say in the context of this event, particular what I understand, tomorrow there will be particular sessions also on AI. This is certainly an area of high interest and with a huge development potential. We have also a large-scale Copernicus data uptake, what I said. So we are still in cluster 4. As you can see from the figures, the amounts and the budgets are really considerable. We have also an important part under cluster 4, designing space-based downstream applications with international partners, particularly for the Commission, a very important area. Also, of course, in the light of the user uptake, but this is particular on the international level. And then we have a very interesting development, and for us a big achievement. It is for the first time that we achieved to anchor very, very strongly the use of EGNS and Copernicus in other clusters than the space cluster, the cluster 4. And that means we have this strong link between Horizon Europe, between the research part and our programs once on the Horizon Europe strategic plan. So this is for us also a strong political message and a political manifestation of the importance. But we have also achieved to put in more than 100 calls across all clusters in the Horizon Work Program, a very specific clause. It is even an eligibility criteria, and it says if projects used satellite-based Earth observation, positioning, navigation, and/or related timing data and services, beneficiaries must make use of Copernicus and/or Galileo EGNOS. Of course, other data and services may additionally be used. Again, to stress the importance, it is really the first time that this very strong anchoring is achieved through what I said, an eligibility criteria and a mandatory criteria. So of course, as you can understand, this is for us linked to really high expectations to promote our space programs. And we are convinced that with this clause and hopefully the strong stimulation we can achieve with this, that we improve not only research results. This is for us obvious that without Earth observation data, navigation data, many of the research challenges cannot or not perhaps on this way be implemented as with the use of these data. But of course, you will understand in the whole context of our efforts to promote the use and the market uptake of Galileo, EGNOS, and Copernicus, this is a real major step forward. But as you can also imagine, it is not obvious. And there we are also, again, very grateful that Earth gave us the opportunity to present this today, because we think in the audience there are certainly many of you who might be very interested in getting in touch with this. I give you or you can read a lot of examples, topics, for example, in the cluster 3, in the security cluster, where, as I said, this clause is in cluster 5, climate, energy, and mobility. In cluster 6, many calls contain these clauses. The cluster 6 is for food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and environment. Let me come to the third line, which is the framework conditions for market uptake. And here again, I would quickly go back to a communication also published by the Commission last year. It is the new industrial strategy for Europe. And in this strategy, a new, very interesting concept has been introduced, the concept of industrial ecosystems. What does it mean? This approach reflects the need for new ways of thinking and working to lead the twin digital and green transition. These ecosystems encompass all players operating in a value chain. So from the smallest startup to the largest companies, from academia to research, service providers and suppliers. And I'm sure you will understand that this is really a new view on industrial policy, which had been so far more, let me say, in a very vertical way. But this is now a global view on different industrial areas. And to support the demand for the use of space data in the European industrial ecosystems, out of the 14 industrial ecosystems which had been identified, 6, in our view, have the highest potential for the use of space data. And this is the digital, agri-food, mobility, transport, automotive, energy-intensive industries, renewable energy, and constructions. So for each of these ecosystems, based on the space data, we will build a value proposition and concrete lists of actions. We need to work closely with the companies to understand their needs and to transform our offer if this is needed to match their requirements. And this is again a very important new aspect, really looking from the user requirements and from the needs industry has. And if I may take the opportunity to give you 2 additional information. So the first is the European, the Info Day for Cluster 4, which takes place on the 29th of June. And then I would warmly recommend you to participate in a workshop we will set up on the 30th of June, which is, we find very interesting for startups. These are the EIC opportunities for space SMEs. So really financial opportunities for startup working with Galileo and Copernicus. So with this, I would like to stop. I hope it was short, I know, but nevertheless, I hope you got an overview that the Commission is working on different, very important strengths to promote the European space programs and at the same time, of course, to support startup and young companies. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you for this really interesting presentations, and we learned really great news. For example, the Horizon Europe work program, which has been adopted, is a really great thing for all of us.
Yes, yes. And it was really, I still modified it this morning, my presentation, so it was just yesterday, late in the evening, that the Commission adopted it.
Thank you very much, because this really helps companies to have a long-term understanding.
Yes.
In previous studies we made, we really highlighted that startups needed 4 or 5 years to really develop and create jobs. So this program is really important.
No, it is. I fully agree. And what I said with these, let me say, backup of the mandatory use of the European space programs, we think that gives even an additional push also for the startup to participate. Mm-hmm.
We received one question in the chat, and I will use this as an opportunity to invite all attendees to use the chat if you want to ask a question. The first question is about the framework conditions for the market uptake on the 14th industrial ecosystem. Is it referring to a European common data space, or is it different? What are the links with Gaia-X?
Sorry, the links with, I'm sorry, I didn't understand this.
Gaia-X.
Sorry, I don't understand it. With Gaia?
Gaia-X, yes.
Gaia-X. No, the main point, what I tried to explain is that this really encompassing view on specific industry sectors will give new opportunities for space companies, space startup to work with industrial partners, but also to bring their solutions into the game. The work on these ecosystems is at the very early stage. So the discussion started. I'm really not in the position to give detailed information how the implementation of this approach in the identified sectors will concretely take place. For this, it is still a bit too early.
Good. Thank you. And at least it is really interesting to know that this will be an action, and I'm pleased to see how the industry can really contribute to this, identify links, develop better links with potential users.
Absolutely. Because, yeah. And this was perhaps one of the weaker point of traditional industrial policy approaches. They were focusing mainly on the big players, on the big industries, but particularly the user side and also the little ecosystem around with startups, with young companies, also with public players, was not taken into the view as it will be now with this new approach.
So maybe you are able to answer to the second question. So how can we be involved in the discussion for this new system?
In this ecosystem, I'm sure, again, sorry, as what I said, the internal discussion started, but I'm absolutely sure there will be many public events in the form of a workshop like yours, or in other occasions that starts up and companies and whoever wants to participate can express his or her view.
Thank you very much, Martina, for this very interesting speech. So I hope you may have some time to
I will stay. Yes, certainly, and I will certainly connect also tomorrow. Okay, so I wish you really a very successful event, and thanks again.